Plusieurs enfants du programme Les Vainqueurs ont perdu des membres en jouant là où il y avait du danger. Faites-en sorte que ça ne vous arrive pas. À la télé et à bord du char allégorique, nous, ambassadeurs de la sécurité, convions les jeunes à la prudence.
Jouez prudemment.
Pour obtenir de la documentation sur le programme Jouer prudemment, communiquez avec les amputés de guerre.
Jouez prudemment.
Welcome to this week's edition of A Slice of Home. Today we're going to experience a slice of heritage, or history as we call it. We're going to talk about the train station. We're going to talk about its history, the plans for it, how things have been going so far. So with us today is Danielle Gravel, who is the committee member of the train station committee. Thanks for coming, Danielle.
Well, thanks for having me, Anne-Marie. I just want to take advantage to thank you for being a volunteer, and you really have a great show. I really enjoy listening to it, and you're bubbly, and it's a lot of fun.
Well, thank you. Thanks a lot. Okay, maybe before we get started on talking about the plans for the station, maybe we can go a little bit back and talk about the history of it. Could you just take us back and how this all got started?
Well, maybe we can say it was built in 1927 at a cost of $30,000, and then it was used until in the early 1970s. The railway didn't serve much purpose anymore. The transportation, they used trucks mostly. So in 1979, a group of local citizens started realizing the value of this beautiful building, its architecture and its history and heritage. So they petitioned the Quebec government and asked them to recognize it as a historical site. It did happen eventually with a lot of pressure and a lot of letters and the usual bureaucracy.
The red tape.
Right. And then I guess in 1990, the CPR wanted to demolish it because it really wasn't serving any purpose. And at the same time, there was some vandalism in town, and a fire destroyed the building. Well, almost destroyed it. So then the town decided, by then they had acquired the building for $1, and they decided they were going to tear it down. And I guess a lot of people reacted to that. So we got a group of local citizens calling themselves Friends of the Station. And we managed to convince the town of Temiskaming not to demolish it, that we wanted to renovate it and restore it. Of course.
Good thing.
Yes. Of course, Frank Dettori of Tembec was there, who did a lot of, I guess, sort of helped turn the wheel around, and Tembec purchased it for $1. And then a committee was formed and went out looking for financing. They got money from the Regional Development Board, Tembec. The town put a little bit in. I guess they didn't have a choice by then. Where are we now? And then we renovated it in 1995, and it opened in 1996 with the 25th anniversary of the town of Temiskaming.
That's good. That's quite a rich history, and you summarized it very well for us. That's a rich history.
I researched it this afternoon, so it's still fresh in my memory.
But it's amazing. Like the building has taken on a life of its own. It really has. It's been through the ups and the downs, and gone through like a fire and the vandalism, and now it's something that the community can be very proud of.
Yes, and I think we forget what a nice building it is, because it's like we see it every day and we just take it for granted. But I've heard people from North Bay, Mattawa, they just would die if they had this building in their community. So we're very fortunate.
Good. I think North Bay actually is trying to do something with one old train station of theirs, so it goes to show you, maybe we're setting the standard, setting an example for other communities, which is something to be proud of as well.
For sure.
Now maybe, since we've talked a little bit about the history, we can talk about the committee that got this all started. Maybe you can tell me the name of the committee and who's involved?
Okay, it's called Société Historique P.E. Gendreau, or P.E. Gendreau Historical Society. And it's composed of Pierre Gingras, who is the president, of Pierre Gadet, who is, he was originally involved in 1979. There's Lucille Jolette, who recently resigned, but she was there for many years. There's Adèle Bélanger. There's José Presseau, who works at the case, and she's new on the committee, and she does excellent work in the Treasury Department. And there's myself, and originally there was also Ross Parling and Glenn McKenzie in the original committee, but there again, they're still sort of in the background. But Jacques Goulet was also on the original committee. He's not there anymore, but he did some excellent work.
Oh, definitely. He did some excellent work inside. Now, it takes people, like you mentioned, other people on the that have kind of stayed in the background of that, but it's people like that you need to come forward when in the tough times, and when you need them to help fundraise and do things like that. Now, what's the objective of this committee?
Well, the committee works, first of all, for the financial stability of the building, trying to get revenues, and presents different projects, and to try and generate some activity. But their main goal is to preserve the cultural element of the building, right? So that's why they don't, we won't see just any type of activity there. It sort of has to have some cultural feel to it, helping people, or
that would be basically it, just to preserve we're preserving culture as it is in the building, so it makes sense to have situations or events that preserve the culture. That's a good point. Now, for fundraising and finances, how does that work?
Well, we're very poor. More expenses than revenues, like most nonprofit organizations. The revenues that help pay for day-to-day costs, like electricity and insurance, come from the rental of the part of the building. Last year, the town of Temiskaming moved its tourist information center in one section of the building, which helps bring in some revenues. And this winter, they rented another part of the building to the Adult Education Center, L'Envol, for literacy courses. So again, that's a little bit of revenues. But there is a lack in the area of fundraising. The committee maybe needs a little boost or.
Sometimes that happens. I mean, you go a certain way and you build up and you build up for something and and then it levels off a little bit. So maybe once the summer comes, we'll hopefully get some more ideas running and that'll be good. In the rental for the illiteracy program, that's an excellent venture as well. You're helping out the community. You're giving back something in turn.
That's right, and it is cultural in a sense because it's helping people better themselves and.
Good. Now, what are the plans for this coming summer? What can we look forward to?
The committee has applied for a student employment program to hire tour guides so that visitors or even local people who want to visit the exhibition, because as you probably know, it has an exhibit from the Canadian Centre of Architecture which explains the history of Temiskaming.
It's very interesting. It's a very interesting exhibit. We're going to go see that later on, I think.
That's right. So they've applied for a grant to get some students there. And then there's the other part, the tourist information, which belongs to the town, and they'll probably also be applying for grants to hire students.
Good. Okay, good. Now, how has the response been from people that have come from other areas, from tourists to this building?
They find it very interesting. They're amazed at what we have here and surprised. If you want to visit the whole exhibit, it takes an hour, so it takes some concentration. Maybe for the kids it's not so popular, but many people who are interested in history find it very appealing.
Yeah, for the history buffs for sure. And did we have some numbers? Did we get some numbers from 97 last year? How many visitors went through?
We estimate 650 people went through the train station for various reasons. Some visited the exhibit, and upstairs last summer we had miniature boats created by Jack Crawford. There were former boats who used to sail Lake Temiskaming. So some people went up there, and there's old photographs up there also.
Yes, those are really neat, the photographs, because you can look and you can see people that, oh, I know that person, and some people come by and you hear of certain people, like working at the mill. You hear past employees and what they've done for the mill and for the town, and I remember when I saw the pictures, oh, that's so-and-so, it's very interesting. I'm sure it's interesting for people that come from other areas as well, because the history of this town is so significant, I think. Now, speaking of Tembec, this year it's the 25th anniversary of Tembec, so I would be expecting, I would think, a few more people, a few more numbers going through the train station. Are you expecting that?
Yes, I understand from my information is close to 1,000 people will be coming to Temiskaming for that special event. And they're planning, there's a special committee at Tembec working on an exhibit for the upstairs part of the train station. So I'm not quite sure what it will contain. Everybody's still working on it.
It'll be, well, that's okay. We don't want to give too much away. We want to entice people to come and check it out. So now, what else did I want to talk to you about before we head inside here? Maybe you were talking about future plans for the train station that were really interesting. Now, we're talking about history here at the train station, but we're talking about using maybe the futuristic or some of the multimedia tools we have right now to help maybe our young and the people right now interact with some of our heritage. How are you going about doing that?
Well, a few years ago, we had a study undertaken by a special firm who looked at how we could recount Temiskaming's history in an interesting fashion, and so they came up with a plan. There's a book that exists about it's this thick, and it contains all kinds of ideas how we could make it interactive and tell a history so that everyone's interested, even the young ones. But like anything else, it's the funding. We've applied for some grants, but it's still somewhere on a desk there, still waiting for approval. But we're hopeful that someday it will come true, so that we can change the exhibit and do something different.
Oh, that would be different, and I think that would be a great idea. So hopefully we can get the ball moving on that. That would be something excellent for the community, not only for the community, but for tourists coming in. So why don't we'll head inside and take a look at the exhibit and maybe look upstairs at some of the pictures and that. How's that sound?
Sounds great.
Now, as you can see, we're inside this beautiful building, and maybe before we get started on the exhibit, Danielle, you can tell us who did all this beautiful work in here.
Well, Mr. Jacques Goulet did all of the renovations, and he really did an excellent job. He preserved all of the bricks. So there's some bricks that were found to replace the old ones. It's all the original ceramic floor. He did a really great job. We're really proud of his work.
He did. It's beautiful. It's just absolutely gorgeous. So we will commend him on that. Now, maybe you can just touch on what we have here, just briefly, because we want people to come and see the exhibit, but just we'll give them maybe a little brief description of each area.
Okay, in this area, we begin by explaining why Temiskaming was chosen in such a remote area, because it was close to the water, the forest, and its main purpose was to produce rayon for the industrialized world.
Good. Okay. Okay. Now over here we have Garden City of the North.
Yes.
Is that what that says?
That's right. That's right. Temiskaming was it's a planned town, and it was planned by an urbanist called Thomas Adams. So he conceived the town before he came here and built it. So it was actually, it's not like some towns, you know, they just build as we go along. This one was planned. He came here and said, okay, this is how we're going to build the streets. And because it was built on a mountain, and that's why it's so unique.
Okay.
So here we see his plans. We see engineering plans, books, excerpts from books, and
Really interesting stuff. Yeah. Okay. Good. Now over on the far wall, is that further information and layouts of the town and plans, or?
yes, there's one book. Maybe we can go over to it.
Okay. Sure.
It's the Canadian Home and Garden, and there was an article published in the magazine in the 1940s or 30s, and it was commenting on Temiskaming's gardens and flowers, because in those days it was very the people worked a lot on their gardens, and it was a pastime for everyone.
And we still have to commend the people that are involved, like just not in their own homes, but I believe there's a woman in town that does all of the gardening in the summer and the springtime to get it It's beautiful in the summer still around that area, around the white oaks and in there, right?
That's right. So I guess history lives on even in this day and age.
Definitely, definitely. Okay. Now, does it move on over to here now as we go along? Okay, we'll check this out. And what do we have over here?
Okay, here we have buildings that even a while ago I said they planned the streets and everything. They also planned the buildings, the school, the church, the hospital. Everything was pre-planned. It was the company who built it. That's why we say Temiskaming was a company town. And
Okay, we'll just move a little bit closer here if we can. Maybe just get in a little bit closer to the pictures.
Okay.
Sorry. Oh, there's the church. Okay.
Yeah, the Roman Catholic Church, St. Teresa's. One thing that's unique about this church, people probably don't realize, is when they were excavating to build the houses, all the rock, they kept it, and the rock that we see on the church is the original rock from the town that was excavated from the town.
I didn't know that. That's really neat. Oh, wow. That is really something else. That's remarkable.
So there's a lot of little details that you learn when you come here and go through the exhibit and read everything. And you could spend a couple of hours here easily. And I'm sure there's quite a few people in Temiskaming who haven't had the opportunity, or probably said, well, why should I go there? But maybe this summer they'll think about it and say, well, hey, let's go. I didn't go last year, so I'll make a point of going this year.
I hope so, because that blows me away about the church still. So it's little pieces of information like that are really interesting. Now, okay, so further along here, it's just some pictures of the town and some explanations and what have you, right?
Those are, they were taken in 1995, these pictures. Unfortunately, they were taken in the spring. So, but they give justice to Temiskaming.
They do. They're very nice, very nice. Okay, what do we have over in our next, here we got the Kippawa Mill and Power Station.
Yeah, those are engineering plans. I don't know.
Okay, we don't know engineering plans. They're engineering plans of the Kippawa Mill and Power Station. If you want to learn, you have to come here and check it out.
These are plans of the different homes, because as you know, there are different sections in the town, and all the houses sort of have the same interior. The outside of the homes are they're not all the same, because the builders in those years could change the porch area. He could still play with some outside elements. But basically, it explains the house plan. So if you wanted to rebuild a house, you could take those plans
And go for it. Those are the original plans. Neat. Okay, and the books there, what are those books that are in the middle of the room here?
Those are books of construction of the mill from A to Z. So here again, if you're interested in how everything started, it's all in those books.
Good. Okay, so is that basically it for down here, and then maybe we can go upstairs and check out what's up. It's beautiful up there. I can't wait to show people who haven't been in here the upstairs as well. So we'll check that out.
Sure.
So now we're upstairs, and as you can see, it's just as beautiful up here as the history is still here, but it's a little bit newer looking up here, eh, Danielle?
Yeah, it's quite different than the original one. Originally, there was an apartment up here, but because of the fire, it was pretty well burnt out. So they just made a sort of an exhibition hall. The floor is beautiful. I really love the floor. It's a hardwood floor, and not donated, but provided by the Huntsville.
Oh, the hardwood floor division. Good stuff. Hey, we utilize all their services around here.
Right.
Now, and including the talent of some of our local residents. Can you explain what we have here?
Okay, Mr. Jack Crawford, who was originally from Temiskaming, creates boats as a pastime, and he created a variety of them. There are at least 10 different boats that used to sail on Lake Temiskaming. So we have the PJ Muir here.
This is a popular boat, I think. A lot of residents would probably be more aware of the PJ Muir, right?
Yes, because it was still on the lake in the 1960s, 70s. It belonged to Opemican, worked for Opemican, and it was sold in 1979, and it went to Kingston to serve as an icebreaker. And I remember it crossing the bridge. Actually, we even took photographs of it. I'm sure many people did.
Wow, that's neat. For somebody like me I've only been in Temiskaming for 5 years, but I didn't realize that there were boats this size that used to come into the area.
Oh yes, some even larger than that. They used to transport passengers from Temiskaming to Ville Marie. That was the main route.
Main waterway, eh?
Right.
Good, and now we're trying to resurrect that too as well. I think it's been for the past few years to get to link up all of the surrounding areas again. Eh?
By water?
By water, yeah.
Yeah, with the Lake Temiskaming waterway. Yeah,
Exactly.
People can travel from Notre-Dame-du-Nord all the way down to Pembroke.
Yeah. So we're really trying to relive and capture our history and keep it going. Eh? It sometimes gets put on the wayside, and it needs people like you and others to get organized and get it moving. So this is the boat collection, then. We have some more around here. But what else do we have up here? I think we have some photos. These are all just photos of history of the town and people?
Yeah, they were mostly a collection. Mr. George Thompson, there's some of his photographs up here, and some of them belong to the town of Temiskaming, and they relate to various activities. You see some people, you see pictures of Lake Temiskaming, you see people doing archery. In those days, archery was quite popular. You see pictures of the old Slasher, where we now have a park there, but in those days, the Slasher was quite the thing to see.
Yeah, it was quite the thing to see. That's what I hear. Now, that's where the park is when you first come into Temiskaming. You see the nice parkway there with the benches and the lights.
That's right. Okay. Quite a change.
Definitely. Even since I've been here, that's quite a change. That's good. Is there anything else up here that you wanted to touch on, Danielle, before we wrap things up? Or anything else that you'd like to tell the public about the train station and maybe entice them to come and check it out?
Well, I guess basically it's just to invite them to come out in June, July, and August and bring their family and friends, and even come alone and spend a couple of hours and relive the history of Temiskaming. It's very rich, and we have something to be proud of.
Definitely something to be proud of, for sure. Now, I just want to remind everybody that, just like what Danielle said, that the train station is here. It's for the community. It's for you to come out. If you're a history buff, or even if you're not, come and check it out, because I'm sure you'll be fascinated by the things you're going to see. And this year is an even more special year because of the 25th anniversary of Tembec as well. I think that would be enticing for people.
That's right. It might bring more people out and encourage them to come out and see it.
Good. So get out, relive the past, and maybe enjoy the future. Hopefully, if we can get that multimedia thing going, and that would be great. And Temiskaming does have a lot to offer its community and tourists that come to the area. So come and check it out, be proud, and maybe spread the word about the train station. So thank you for coming on.
Well, thank you for having me.
So once again this week for A Slice of Home, sharing a slice of our heritage, I'm Anne-Marie Desjardins. Thanks for watching.